Hey, welcome. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. How you doing? Hey, little message for some out there. I'm going to take a little bit and discuss a few things here. Just a little something. I put a post on my Facebook page, and I got to tell you, I love the discussion. It's really cool. Yeah, people, really, looking into this and giving their views and all of that. And I really, really enjoy discussions like that. It's just awesome. I love it. It's great. And no one's calling anybody names. No one's, saying anything derogatory. I like that. That's cool. And that keeps you from getting banned off my page. So that's awesome. I love that. That's great. We can have a discussion about anything. About morality, about politics, about, you name it. We can discuss anything. And if you're a decent individual and want to share your, information, that's fine. Great. Wonderful. I give you a high five for that. But, so to those out there, I personally want to thank them. Okay. Because you didn't go overboard. You kept it, on the rails and you're cool. That's awesome. All right. One of the people that responded is from my hometown in Stockton, California. So thumbs up. Awesome. Appreciate the discussions on that particular post. And so onward and upward to another subject. And what I want to discuss with you from my particular perspective is this whole voting thing, this whole, elections and all this, that, and the other thing. Did you know that many, many years ago, elections and voting and all of that just got thrown out the window? Did you know that? Because it's not, to simply put it this way, I will say that it's not about the votes that you cast in the voting booth. No, it's the amount of money that the so-called or supposed candidates are getting from the corporations that are funding their campaigns. And he with the most money wins. I mean, pretty much. We don't vote for a person to go into Congress or be a representative or a senator. We don't vote for that anymore. We vote percentage-wise with our dollars, with our, all of that, contributions, whatever. And that goes into a big clearinghouse called the Electoral College, and then they divvy out whoever they're told to give the most votes to. But let's make it look like it's not rigged, okay? It's all rigged, folks, all of it. And the corporations have bought each and every single politician that you hear about. And now, let me rephrase that. Let me take that back a bit and say this. Let me correct myself, because I can do that. If I know I said something that is just not right, I will correct myself. I'm wrong. There you go. You heard me say that. There are a handful of candidates for the midterms elections coming up in November of 2014 and also for the 2016 presidential election. There are a handful of candidates who look pretty decent. I haven't interviewed any of them. I plan on interviewing at least a couple of them, hopefully, for my radio show. And facts are facts, folks. I mean, if these people are if these people are decent, hardworking, understand the Constitution and stand on the Constitution and do what is right and do what they're able to do without any outside interference from corporations. Actually, if they got balls enough, they can tell the corporations to go to hell. They don't need to, be involved in government. They need to just step up, shut the doors to all corporations, and there you go. And then you and I would get a chance to at least do something to direct this country into the direction we want. And but again, voting. It's all rigged, folks. Your votes don't count. What's the conclusion on all of that? The corporations got a stranglehold on all the politicians that are in Washington, D.C. currently, and therefore will direct this country into the direction that they want, which is total and absolute enslavement of all of you and me and everybody else to try to, not try, but to destroy the sovereignty of the United States of America. Okay? This is what is happening. There isn't enough people with the balls to stand up to these people. But there is enough people to shout as loud as we can to get the word out there that these morons in the corporations that run the United States of America need to be, number one, taken out of business, just put out of business, just cancel your subscription to their companies, if you will. And they need to be arrested, and they need to be thrown in jail, and they need to be prosecuted for fraud. And you go down the line. I'm sure an attorney will find something wrong with them, right? Now, that goes into a whole different ballgame when you're dealing with the population against the corporations. We can vote with our dollars, as I said before, and we do when we contribute to our local politicians, and who, of course, later will run for larger offices. But we can vote these corporations out of politics with our dollars. How do we do that? Boycott them. Do boycotts work? On some levels, in more local areas, they do. On a national level, not so much. But when you have enough bad complaints and criticisms and all that against certain companies and all this, then yeah, that starts to take effect. Look at what happened to Hobby Lobby, who is coming to the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, where I live. Look, they're coming here. This is the most conservative. On one part, this state is conservative. On another part, this state is just completely, cancer-ridden liberal, okay? I mean, there are problems with Nevada, as there are problems with any state, but the facts are the facts. You get a certain amount of people together and you say, corporations, you will not contribute to the political campaigns of any candidate out there. You say that enough, and I can pretty much guarantee you, well, let me retract that too. I am wrong. I can say this, there is a certainty that at some point, those corporations will back down and not contribute to those political candidates. Now, the thing that contributes to this whole fascistic, communistic, socialistic way of life are those people that are saying, the government's going to give me what I want. Oh, they don't come out and say that, but their actions push them to that extreme. In other words, their mindset is, I'm not going to do a damn thing. I'm going to scam the system. I'm going to get what I want, and the government's going to take care of me, and I want everything free, and blah, 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 and they go from there. But the facts of the matter are, socialism, communism, fascism does not work. So these people sitting on their butts doing nothing and trying to scam the system to get what they want, well, hey, they're idiots. All of them. Okay? All of them. Now, that's one side. The other side is you've got people who are retired, on Social Security, disability, all this, who are getting screwed by the Affordable Care Act. So who's going to win in this? Nobody. And we voted this moron who takes up the suit in the White House. Okay? Yes, I can say what I'm saying because I still, at this point in time, on 25th of March 2014, still have the freedom of speech to say whatever I want. So, what do? Well, we don't contribute to those candidates who speak more of a communitarian way of living or a more sustainable development in your city. You don't vote for these morons. These morons are bought and paid for and are shills for the New World Order and are in the pockets of the UN, okay, in that regard to the sustainable development and all that. There's other people that are controlling all of these candidates, little puppets here, little puppets there, and guess what? They play each one of them off of one another, okay? So you and I we get really confused as to who to vote for. Our votes don't count, okay? If you look at your sample ballot, which should be coming out in September, October, somewhere around in there, I guess. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But you read the propositions, you read those things that are in there, the pros and the cons, and the who's for it and who's against it. When you read them, it's very confusing. If you vote for this, this will happen. If you vote for that, that'll happen. If you vote for this, you're getting rid of Proposition 3. If you vote against 3, you're voting for Proposition 5. Whatever. And it's like, what? No, excuse me. Whatever happened to, I don't like that and I don't want that. Whatever happened to common sense? You know what I mean? And as we go down through the line and as we look at all these things and as we examine all these things, what is the takeaway from that? What is the result of that? How do we manage, believe it or not, how do we manage to even have a rational thought about how to vote, who to vote for, what to vote for, how if they're out there but they are using psychological operations in a way that confuses the voter and confuses the citizen, how are they going to make the right decisions on who to vote for? And that basically means that we need to get rid of all of those people that are confusing us in those ways. Well, they have a right to do what they do. Yeah, okay. Your argument is invalid due to the fact that these people are confusing you and making you think that the other guy, who apparently is the right guy for the job, is the guy that you don't want. Then they're trying to convince you that the guy they're promoting is the guy that you want, but yet, then they'll go, let me explain this very simply, okay? We've all been to school. We've all been to elementary school, junior high, high school, whatever. And we've all seen that one person who would walk up to us and say, that guy over there, he thinks you're an idiot. He says he can kick your ass. We've all seen that guy, right? We've all encountered that person, right? Doesn't have to be a guy. It can be a girl. It could be a woman, whatever. We've all seen that person, right? Then they go over to the other guy going, see that guy over there in the red jacket? He says he can kick your ass. We've seen that, right? We understand that that's happening, right? Dun-ta-da! Newsflash! That's what's happening in the political arena now. Okay, you've got one person or a group of people looking at each candidate, looking at one candidate going, that guy over there here. And then they go to the other candidate, and that guy over there. And that's what they're doing. They're playing these people off of one another when in fact, and this is a fact, they're promoting both of them and funding their campaigns. Do you see how insane this bullcrap is? Your votes don't count. They never have. They never will. Ever. Okay? All right? Now, what do? How do we get beyond this? How do we get everything straightened out? Well, when I get back from the break, I'll tell you. At least from my point of view, I will tell you what I think should be done. Some people may not agree, but that's okay. You can email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com and let me know. So I will be back right after this.
The views expressed. The high-caliber, armor-piercing halotip round that pierces right through your soul. Every weekday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time on Spreaker.com.
What we see is not always the truth. Lies, deceit, cover-ups. This is the world we live in. It is not reality. It is distorted reality. Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker. Welcome, one and all. 25th of March, 2014. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast. How you doing? Things are changing for the Free America Radio Network, and you can be a part of that. Help us get to the next level, please. Thank you. freeamericaradio.us. That's the one. I was going to give you the email address, which is freeamericaradio@usa.com. You got any questions? Please let me know. If you agree or disagree with what I say, let me know that too, because I'm okay with that. I'm okay with disagreements. It's fine. Just don't call me names. It's the name calling that just, But anyway, I know I called the president a moron. That's because he is. But anybody that wants to take away my rights and destroy the Constitution and the sovereignty of the United States of America, well, hey, you're a freaking moron. That's just the way it is. But anyway, hey, I want to give a big shout out to Nick Tucker over at Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook, and also distortedreality.podbean.com. He's also part of the alternative media, so go to distortedreality.podbean.com and support him as well. Donate to the Distorted Reality Network and help him get to the next level as well. Also want to remind people that Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to noon, you can also listen to Spencer Hughes at www.ksfo.com out of San Francisco. Yeah, check that show out. He's awesome. So anyway, and more. There's more stuff going on coming up in April. Brian Keller and Nick Larson are doing a show about they're doing I want to call it a telethon, okay, but it is in essence, but they're supporting foundation. I forget which one it was. You can go to Brian Keller on Facebook. That's KELLAR, Brian Keller on Facebook. Ask him. Or you can go to freedomslips.com, Revolution Radio Studio B to check out his show. Or there you go. That's kind of vague, and I'm trying to remember out of memory really what they're doing in April. So let me go to, I'll give it to you straight off Facebook. Here we go, Brian Keller. And he is doing, here it is. A 12-hour live radio event to bring awareness to autism and raise funds for autism. And this is for Talk for Autism 2.0, until every piece is found. On March 24th, that was yesterday, Talk for Autism hosts Nick Larson and Brian Keller announced this year's charity for Talk for Autism 2.0 will be the National Autism Association. Supporters can now donate before the show airs on April 11th by going to the show's website, www.talkforautism.com. The mission of the National Autism Association is to respond to the most urgent needs of the autism community, providing real help and hope so that all affected can reach their full potential. The website is a wealth of information, and they offer programs geared towards helping families, Larson said. He also talks about NAA's program called Big Red Safety Box Found, which is a program to help prevent and locate those that wander away. Talk for Autism is a 12-hour radioathon hosted by Nick Larson and Brian Keller and airs April 11th, 2014, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific at www.talkforautism.com. So there you go. I wanted to promote that because, yes, autism is very much a something that should be considered to be looked into and researched and find out how we can reverse a lot of the find the pieces of the puzzle and help people with autism live a more fulfilling life. I know people with autism, adults, and they seem fine to me, but there is something that they need help with. And so that's www.talkforautism.com, and check that out on April 11th with Nick Larson and Brian Keller. So, anyway, there's a lot more that I want to talk about, and I'm probably going to fill up this hour with a whole bunch of stuff, so pay attention, put your thinking cap on, put your, just secure that puppy right to your head, okay? But there's going to be a lot that I'm going to be talking about here today, so please stand by, and I shall be back right after this. The President of the United States turns the country into a dictatorship. What happens after he does? Find out in the book Dictator-in-Chief by Brian Keller, available at Amazon.com or CreateSpace.com. Eastland Radio Repertory Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor? Do you want to hone your abilities? Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com. We are currently looking for voice actors to fill certain character roles in an ongoing radio play in development. Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com.
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
For all you independent artists, musicians, and filmmakers, there is a place for you. Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. Go to radiorocktheblitz.blogspot.com. Hey, welcome back. How y'all doing today? This is the 25th of March, 2014. This is Wayne S. Pierce, the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast. I usually do a live show Monday through Friday, or excuse me, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 12 noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. But once in a great while, I like to put a podcast out there, and that way, you guys know what's on my mind. And this is pretty much free flow. There's no cards, there's no notes, there's no nothing. There's just me and everything in my memory that I can remember, and so I disseminate that information to you. Now, this whole thing about the Malaysian airline. Okay, getting two conflicting reports. BeforeIt'sNews.com says that it landed at Diego Garcia secret U.S. military base. Not so secret anymore. And the Malaysian government is saying that they have proof beyond proof that it did crash in the Indian Ocean. Well, which is it? Now, it is possible, and there are flight controllers, former flight controllers that have said, and military flight controllers that have said that it is possible to let's just say, by remote control or by changing a few things, that a plane in the vicinity, you can change the designation code, or not designation, but the code for the plane itself. You can change that to some other plane that is in the local area or close by to the other vehicle. You know, you can switch it. Okay, basically, I don't know how they do that. I'm not a flight controller, but it is possible to do that. Now, what happened? Now, there's all kinds of conspiracy theories out there about, all kinds of stuff, and it went down, and this, that, and the other thing, and the other possibility is how long between the time that it went missing to the time that they supposedly found it in the Indian Ocean, how long would it take a ship with plane parts and scrap parts to come out to that location, drop it, and leave? How long would that take? Okay, I'm just curious. It's possible. I'm not going to put it past somebody to do that. That is very, very possible. It is also very possible to switch the designation codes to another plane in the vicinity and have the actual plane land at Diego Garcia. It's possible. All of this is possible. But what is the actuality? What really happened? Nobody really knows. And since I don't have enough information I'm just giving you possibilities. I don't have enough information to share with you so that you can make up your own mind and find the facts. I would suggest that you go out and do that yourself as well, because I don't have enough information here in front of me. I don't have notes. I just got my keyboard. And anyway, I know what I know from yesterday. And it's interesting to know that there is a point at which somebody is going to say, well, that plane went down, that's it, it's done, and people died, and there is that. Okay, but there's also the other side of that which says, well, it could be, a vortex opened up in the sky and the plane got sucked out, and it's like, what? That's a little far-fetched, folks. I just don't. No, I don't buy into that whole vortex in the sky opening up and disappearing plane going. And I know. It's just the possibilities I gave you are the ones that are more logical to explain, okay? I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. You guys got to go look that stuff up yourself. But anyway, the other thing is, again, I want to mention that I put up a post on my Facebook page. And it was a post that I know was controversial to begin with, and I knew that I was going to get some very interesting responses to it. But I never thought that I would have such a great discussion about the situation and about the post itself from the people that responded. I want to put this out there. I thank you folks that responded to that particular post, and I got to tell you, I mean, you are very knowledgeable about what you know, and that's really cool. And you didn't name call, you didn't point fingers, you didn't say. That's fine. I'm cool with that. But yeah, it's cool. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. And you know who you are. So anyway, what else? What else is on my mind right now that I want to share? You can come to the Views Express live, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on freeamericaradio.us or Spreaker.com or wakingupthemasses.com. See, Free America Radio Network is going to the next level. We are on wakingupthemasses.com. And we are also being... there's a micro broadcasting station, Part 15, FCC Part 15, in Chickamauga, Georgia, that airs my show. So the Views Express Live is being micro-broadcasted out into the Chickamauga, Georgia area. So thank you very much, Bob Brutus, over at WakingUpTheMasses.com. And check out Bob Brutus. He hosts a show called Kicking the Capstone. And it's an hour-long show, and it's filled with information that you probably never knew before. So check that out. Bob Brutus, Kicking the Capstone. You can find that on Facebook as well. And then after his show, my show, The Views Express Live, comes on WakingUpTheMasses.com. And go check that out. And thank him for bringing the Free America Radio Network to his website. I appreciate that very much. So, what else? I've got enough time to fill here. So, let's go to take my little cell phone out here. We're going to take my NSA tracking device called the cell phone. And we're going to go over here and check out some headlines. Obama to call for end to NSA's bulk phone data collection. Yeah, because he got his hand caught in the cookie jar. Hello. Malaysian airline, MH370, relatives in Beijing scuffles. Yeah, this is just short little news headlines. Sorry if they cut off at the end. Hope for survivors of Washington mudslide dims. Supreme Court sharply divided on Obamacare. FBI agent cleared in Boston bombing-linked shooting. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll be mentioning that on the Views Express Live today. Crazy footage shows what it's like to skydive off of One World Trade Center. Yeah, apparently some people snuck up there and did some base jumping. Suspect in sailor shooting death, disarmed officer to obtain weapon. Well, that sucked. Obama, U.S. concerned about continued Russian thing there. Let me go to one of these, and I will talk about it. How about this? How about the as soon as my cell phone decides it wants to cooperate. Every so often it burps and it says, no, I'm not going to do that. So, how y'all doing? You want to email me? freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. The website is freeamericaradio.us. Help Free America Radio Network get to the next level. You can donate if you like, and if you can, that's okay. If you're not able to, not a big deal. So thank you very much for that. Again, freeamericaradio@usa.com. Or if you want to send me some information that you just want me to see, freeamericaradio@unseen.is. freeamericaradio@unseen.is. Thank you very much. The FoxNews.com reports Obama calls for end to NSA's bulk phone data collection. Published today from Fox News. Thank you, Fox News. President Obama is calling on Congress to pass new legislation that would prevent the National Security Agency from collecting and holding vast amounts of data on Americans' phone calls. The president discussed the plans during a press conference at The Hague in the Netherlands. Previewing his proposal, he claimed it would address concerns about how the bulk data collection could be exploited. Should have figured that one out at the time they implemented this thing. Quote, he says, quote, I'm confident that the proposal allows us to do what is necessary in order to deal with the dangers of a terrorist threat, but does so in a way that addresses some of the concerns that people have raised, unquote, Obama said. New York Times first reported late Monday that the administration was expected to propose that Congress overhaul the electronic surveillance program by having phone companies hold on to the call records, according to a government official briefed on the proposal. The proposal would require that phone companies only keep the records for the 18 months currently required by federal law and allow the government to seize certain records when the request is approved by a federal judge. Currently, the government holds on to those phone records for 5 years so the numbers can be searched for national security purposes. A senior administration official told Fox News that the president would present, quote, a sound approach to ensuring the government no longer collects or holds this data, but still ensures that the government has the access to the information it needs to meet the national security needs his team has identified, unquote. The official also said that until the legislation is passed by Congress, quote, the president has directed his administration to renew the current program as modified substantially by the president in his January speech, unquote. Okay. All right, all that means is on the outside to the public, here's what we're going to do. And I propose this to Congress, and behind closed doors, he's saying, screw the people, I'm going to do this anyway. In January, Obama tasked his administration with coming up with an alternative to current counterterrorism program and suggested that the phone company's option was the most likely. However, he also said that option posed problems. Quote, this will not be simple, unquote, Obama said. An independent review panel suggested that the practice of government collecting the phone records be replaced by a third party or the phone companies holding the records and the government would access them as needed. Quote, both of these options pose difficult problems, unquote, Obama said in January. Quote, relying solely on the records of multiple providers, for example, could require companies to alter their procedures in ways that raise new privacy concerns, and the phone companies have been against this option as well. Anyway, continuing, in several meetings with White House staff since December, phone company executives came out strongly opposed to proposals that would shift the custody of the records from the NSA to the telecoms. The executives said they would only accept such changes to the NSA program if they were legally required and if that requirement was spelled out in legislation, meaning in legalese, and let the attorneys deal with it and bury it and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Continuing, the companies are concerned about the costs of retaining the records and potentially liability, such as being sued by individuals whose phone data was provided to intelligence or law enforcement agencies, these people said. The discussion with the White House ceased earlier this year. Industry officials said they had not been in contact with the administration as new options were being considered. The executives have continued to discuss the issue with lawmakers, however. In other words, yeah, on the outside, we're going to show the public this is what we're doing, but behind closed doors, we're going to do this. Can you see the double standard? Details of the government's secret phone records collection program were disclosed last year by former NSA systems analyst Edward Snowden, outraging privacy advocates and forcing Obama to promise that changes would be made. But the White House's proposed changes won't happen right away. Dun, dun, dun. The government plans to continue its bulk collection program for at least 3 months, the Times says. Try longer, folks. Continuing, but it's unlikely that Congress would pass legislation in the next 3 months as the NSA surveillance has proved to be a divisive issue, even within political parties. Yeah, because the Democratic Party's looking at Obama going, you're an idiot. And they're jumping ship. Yeah. Continuing, the chairwoman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Dianne Feinstein, scumbag, has advocated for the program to continue to operate as it does, because she's a freaking liberal scumbag piece of trash. The California Democrat said she would be open to other options if they met national security and privacy needs. No, she's lying through her teeth. It is unclear whether the White House proposal will meet those needs. Leaders of the House Intelligence Committee are expected to introduce legislation Tuesday that would call for a similar option to the Obama administration's. Under the administration's pending legislative proposal, officials would have to obtain phone records by getting individual orders from the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, the FICA court, or whatever it is. The Times report said. The new court orders would require companies to provide those records swiftly and to make available continuing data related to the order when new calls are placed or received. Folks, this is not just about terrorism or counterterrorism. Okay, this is about your privacy. This is about your rights. This is what is driving this whole administration, and this is what is happening. You're being surveilled at all times, okay? You got a cell phone in your pocket? You're being surveilled. You're texting your friends or whatever. You're being surveilled. It's going into, hello? They're going to, what? The current way it is holding all of your information for 5 years, but what they're proposing is to go back to the original, which was 18 months. It's not going to make any difference, folks. 1984 is here, and it's on freaking steroids. I'll be back right after this. Have a nice trip. See you next fall. Attending their daughter's wedding in South Africa promised to be a vacation of a lifetime. But first, they had to face the treacherous gauntlet known as modern-day travel. Waiting for them on the other side of the world are an honest-to-goodness safari with amorous lions and elephants with anger issues. A life-affirming visit to a South African school, and an anxious bride and groom standing patiently at the airport with a sign that reads, "What took you so long?" The answers lie within the pages of Please Hold Thumbs, a not-so-round trip to South Africa, a true tale of turbulence and triumph from travel mug Scott Cherney, author of Red Asphalt. Available at Amazon.com in paperback and on the Kindle. Hey, welcome back. Sorry I cut you off so soon and all that, but Anyway, what else is in the news? Okay. What else is in the news? What else? Can we look at Obama? Oh, yeah, let's take a look at this one. As my nose is running. VoiceOfAmerica.com. Obama, U.S. concerned about continued Russian encroachment in Ukraine. Voice of America today, the 25th of March, 2014. U.S. President Barack Obama said Tuesday that he's worried about further encroachment of Russia into Ukraine after the annexation of Crimea. Speaking with Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte after a nuclear security summit at The Hague, President Obama said Russia's annexation of Crimea is unacceptable. Quote, "We're not recognizing what has happened in Crimea," unquote, he said, adding sanctions against Russia may deepen into energy and trade sectors. Yeah, watch our oil prices go up. President Obama said the U.S. is examining the impact of its most recent sanctions as it studies additional ones. Russia, meanwhile, has dismissed as counterproductive a move by world powers to cut Moscow out of the group of 8 industrialized nations over its actions in Ukraine. The spokesman for Russian President Vladimir Putin made the comment one day after the 7 other G8 nations agreed to hold their own Group 7 summit in June instead of attending the previously planned G8 meeting in Russia. In a joint statement issued on the sidelines of the nuclear summit in The Hague, Netherlands, the leaders of the U.S., Britain, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, and Japan said they were suspending their participation with Russia in the G8 until Moscow, quote, changes course, unquote. Western powers have been moving to isolate Russia over its annexation of Crimea Peninsula from the Ukraine. Russian news agencies quote the Kremlin spokesman as saying Russia is ready for and interested in continued contacts with its fellow G8 countries. But Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said Monday it would be, quote, no great tragedy, unquote, if Russia were dropped from the coalition. Lavrov met his Ukrainian counterpart, I can't pronounce that name, sorry, Monday on the sidelines of the nuclear summit. It was their first meeting and the highest level meeting yet between the Russian government and the new Ukrainian government. U.S. reaffirms support for Ukraine. Meanwhile, the United States Tuesday reaffirmed its commitment to the Ukrainian leadership. In a joint statement, the two countries described Russia's attempt to annex Crimea was illegal and vowed not to recognize the move. The statement said Russia's actions, quote, undermine the foundation of the global security architecture and endanger European peace and security, unquote. On Monday, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu toured Russia military headquarters in Crimea as Russian forces seized Ukrainians' last military base on the peninsula and Ukrainian forces withdrew. Ukraine's acting president, Alexander Turchinov, ordered the withdrawal in the face of a much larger Russian military presence on the peninsula. He said the move is a response to threats by Russian forces on the lives of Ukrainian service members and their families. Late Monday, Russia's RIA Novosti news agency quoted Crimea's deputy prime minister as saying all military units in the peninsula are now under the control of Russian military. Troop movements. Ukraine's Secretary of National Security, I can't pronounce that name either, tells VOA, Voice of America, that about 100,000 Russian troops and armor are poised along Ukrainian borders and remain on full alert. That troop presence in Ukrainians' eastern and southern borders has triggered alarm in Kiev. It also has spawned warnings from NATO that Moscow may be seeking to expand its territorial reach into another pro-Russian territory on Ukraine's southwestern border, Transnistria, I guess that's how you pronounce it. For its part, Moscow has insisted the border troops are conducting maneuvers and says there are no plans to cross into the Ukraine. Ukraine has remained highly unstable since November, when then-President Viktor Yanukovych backed off from signing a trade agreement with the European Union in favor of closer ties with Russia. The move led to weeks of anti-government protests in Kiev that forced Yukhanov to flee the country last month. Crimeans voted last week in a highly controversial ballot to secede from the Ukraine and join the Russian Federation, a move quickly embraced by Russian President Putin. The United States and the European Union say the vote violates the Ukraine's constitution and is illegal. Yeah. So there you go on that front, folks. Seriously. What's going to happen? I mean, seriously. I mean, there are certain things that the United States can do, and to me, we really have to step up our presence, and hopefully through diplomatic means, we can stop this crazy train from getting derailed. I mean, is it going to happen? Yeah, but look, someone's controlling Putin. And yes, a few months back, he paid off the Rothschilds banks that owned everything in Russia and owned him and owned everything else, but somebody else is controlling him. And it's not the Rothschilds. Can you say Bilderberg Group? Because they're meeting this year at some point. There's just so much. There's just so much. Really. I don't know. You want to get into entertainment because people seem to, like that more than anything else. How about not? Okay. It's just, I don't know, man. I do not know why people seem to think that, again, going back to the votes, Even if we vote people into office that we want, that we believe is going to help us out, yeah, that's not really going to work. He with the most money wins. He who buys out the office wins. He who has controlled both parties, somebody's going to lose in that encounter. I mean, seriously, folks. I mean, do you really think it matters anymore whether or not you vote? Well, it's, yeah, don't give me that crap. You know it. You know it's all, you know. It's a bunch of BS, and we all know that. It's crap. So what do? We need to get out. Well, have you seen what's happening in these other countries in the last year or so? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people getting out into the streets and protesting their corrupt government. I don't see that in America. You know why? Because there are people here who are outright fearful and big-ass pussies. That's the way it is. I don't see a town of an average population of about 500,000 people, just, a town of an average population of 500,000 people. I don't see 20% of them getting out into the streets. That would be 100,000 people if you do the math. I don't see this. And even if there were 10,000 people out in the streets protesting their corrupt city councils or governments or states, your state-run media is not going to show that. Do you know why? Because they don't want you getting up and being motivated by that to get out and to, protest what's happening out of Washington, D.C. They don't want to see you have your freedoms. Okay? Your votes don't count. The state-run media is lying to you, all of them. Doesn't matter who they are or who you think is the best on the network. They're lying to you. Every single last one of them. It does not matter. Does not matter at all. Your votes don't count. Nothing counts. Now, what's the solution? I just told you. Get out into the street. You know what? Stop traffic. If you can gather in the next several months enough people to get out into the streets, could be 100, could be 1,000, could be 5,000, doesn't matter. If you can go out into the streets and stop traffic and have the press come out and have all that come out, tell them we are out here protesting the corrupt government, not only in this city, but in this county, in this state, and in America. And if you don't have the balls to stand up to do that, then guess what? You're pussies. Okay? I've had people, I'm not lying to you. I had people saying, well, what are you doing? Folks, I've been out here talking to people. A couple of months ago, a few months back, there was this big, I was listening to the police scanner that's online at radioreference.com. Go there, radioreference.com. Check out your own local police scanners on there. I was listening to it, and I heard some police officers say, well, there's a bunch of people out here, and they're protesting. We're going to keep this street safe here. We're going to close this one off, and blah, blah, and this is what the police were doing. And they were very cordial. I've talked to some of the police. I've called the Reno Police Department. Very cordial people. We said, let's go see what's happening. I told Diana, the host of Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, and I told her, I said, let's go. Let's go check this out. Let's see what's going on. You know how many people were out there? It was for immigration reform. And there were, I'm not lying to you, there were probably about 50 people out there. When we first initially saw it, of course, people started dispersing because by the time we got there, it was almost over. And there were cameras out there. There were probably, local cameramen and reporters out there from some of the Spanish stations and such. And or people with very fancy cameras that posted on YouTube. I don't know. So But I talked to a few people. I said, well, you guys, immigration, what's your, and this camera person said, what's your view on immigration? And I said, I want legal immigration. She dropped the camera, looked at me and said, thank you very much. I shook her hand and she walked off. So, folks, people get out there. Get out there, seriously. I call on people right now in the Reno, Nevada area, right now, Carson City, Reno, Sparks, Tahoe, whatever. I call on you to get a group of people together and let's meet. Contact me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. I shall return right after this. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce from the Views Express. Come join me Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, on Spreaker.com. Hey, welcome. The last part of the show. How y'all doing? It's the 25th of March, 2014. This is Wayne S. Pierce for the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast. I'm usually live Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 12 noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. I want to give a big shout out to Brian Keller, Nick Larson. April 11th, they're going to have Talk for Autism Radioathon, as they call it, to raise money for autism. So check it out at talkforautism.com. Also want to give a big shout out to Bob Brutus over at wakingupthemasses.com for bringing the Views Express live, my show, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, on the Free America Radio Network. He brought that show to wakingupthemasses.com, so thank you very much, Bob Brutus. Check out his show, Kicking the Capstone, on wakingupthemasses.com. Also, Nick Tucker, Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. distortedreality.podbean.com. He's also part of the alternative media as I am, so if you can help him out as well, get to the next level, that he would very much appreciate that. And you can contact him at Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook, or donate to Distorted Reality Network at distortedreality.podbean.com. Tell him I sent you. So there you go. Lots more coming up today on the Views Express Live, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Free America Radio Network. And I want to get into this last bit of information for you. And again, if you have questions, comments, if you agree, disagree, please just go to Free America Radio on Facebook, or email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. I'll be more than happy. Just ask me anything you like. Ask me any question you want. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. Well, I don't have a problem with that. So anyway, what is on your list of things to do to bring freedom, peace, security, and liberty back to the United States of America? What is on your list? Tell me. freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. So many things going on that I can't always keep up. As a preview of the views expressed live today, go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Ian Williams Goddard said, a society whose citizens refuse to see and investigate the facts, who refuse to believe that their government and their media will routinely lie to them and fabricate a reality contrary to verifiable facts, is a society that chooses and deserves the police state dictatorship it is going to get, unquote. Ian Williams Goddard. I totally and absolutely agree with that. And somebody asked if I can spell the freaking word agree. I'm okay. One of those days, folks, man, I'm telling you. It is, of course, Tuesday, the 25th of March, 2014. There's a meme. There's a picture up there that says a Muslim shouting, quote, "Death to America," unquote, cannot be put on a terrorist watch list since Barack Hussein Obama had it rewritten. A war veteran shouting, quote, "Support the Constitution," unquote, can. Waking up yet? Yeah. He is bad for America, always been bad for America, will always be bad for America, because he's not even a freaking citizen, okay? I mentioned this yesterday on the Views Express Live. RedFlagNews.com, Homeland Security exercise targets, quote, "free Americans against socialist tyranny," unquote. You should read that article. Also from FreedomOutpost.com, Obama's war on freedom of speech, rewriting the Freedom of Information Act is what he did. Okay? Now, what's the big thing going on? I don't know. You tell me. You tell me what's going on in your neck of the woods. Free America Radio at USA.com. Free America Radio at USA.com. There's so much going on that it changes every 5 minutes, so pay attention, because something you may be looking at might be a distraction to something else that's going on behind the scenes, if you know what I mean. So please check things out. Go to and hey, let me say this. If you go to wakingupthemasses.com around 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, you will hear the Views Express live right there on wakingupthemasses.com. Yesterday it was cut short because of network problems. The server went down or for some reason. So hopefully I won't have those problems today. But what else? What else is there? Hey, I'm going to get out of here, folks, because the show's over. The podcast is over. Actually, you can email me questions, concerns, comments, anything. Just send me your information. Send me your article. I'll put it up on the website at freeamericaradio.us and promote it from there. So, freeamericaradio.us. Email is freeamericaradio@usa.com, unless it's something you want to send that you don't want anybody else to see. A more secure email address is freeamericaradio@unseen.is. freeamericaradio@unseen.is. Folks, come join me on the Views Express live today. Who knows? I might have a guest. I'm not quite sure yet. I don't know. But tune in, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right there on freeamericaradio.us and wakingupthemasses.com. Also, you can check me out on Spreaker.com as well. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. And again, the website is freeamericaradio.us. And the email address is freeamericaradio@usa.com. Talk to you guys later.